Are you lost when it comes to talking to your kids about porn? Your kids are probably going to see porn. So how do you talk to your son about porn? As a therapist who treats pornography addiction, I've heard the same story over and over again. I'll make it really fast for you. I'm addicted to porn. I got caught by my wife. This is how it started. When I was 10, 11 years old, I saw pornography. My parents never talked to me about it. In fact, they hardly talked to me about sex at all. And I just started using it, and I started hiding it, and I've been doing it my whole life. And now my wife's caught me, and that's why I'm in your office. You don't want your son to repeat that pattern. You don't want your son to fall into that. Believe it or not, talking to your kids about porn is not that difficult. But there's some really important things to understand when you do approach the topic with them. Before I get into the things to do and the things that work, I want to give you some examples of things that really don't work. I was working with a dad once who started to try to talk to his son about pornography and masturbation. And good for him, he was wanting to talk to his son about it. But this is how he talked to him about it. He called masturbation Mr. M. And he would say, "Hey, how you doing with Mr. M?" And his son would look at him like, "You're weird, and this is awkward." And he'd always bring up Mr. M to his son. And the son would meet with me and say, "I'm so sick and tired of dad talking about Mr. M." What the dad is doing is he's sending a message of, we can't fully talk about it because it's too awkward and too uncomfortable. Automatically he's saying, I don't want to go there with you, but I'm going to try to go there with you. Not effective. Another thing that's not effective is by just saying to your son frequently, "Hey, how's it going, buddy?" Now, he knows what you mean by that. You're asking about porn and masturbation. "Hey, how's it going, buddy? How's it going, buddy?" But if you're always saying that to your son, you're actually in fear that he's struggling, and you're trying to check up on him to have him tell you that things are okay. And what that does is it pushes them away. They don't want to just be checked up on all the time. They actually need a discussion. They need education about pornography. The other thing that I see is dads who realize their sons are struggling with pornography, or moms who realize their sons are struggling with pornography. They interact with their son mostly about pornography. So they're always checking in, they're always asking about pornography, they're always wondering what's going on. And what that does is it makes the son feel like, what you care most about me is that I'm not using pornography. If you're lacking other connections and other parts of that relationship, and you're focused just on the pornography, that's a problem. You must have a relationship built on trust and safety with your son so that you can effectively have conversations about difficult things. And one of those difficult things may be talking about pornography. If you want more information on how to be a better parent and how to avoid pornography addiction, then you're going to want to subscribe to my channel because I talk about this all the time. Let's break down the do's and the don'ts when it comes to talking to your son about pornography. And I know this doesn't come automatic, but first and foremost, don't be awkward. The more awkward you are, the less they're going to want to talk to you about it. So if you're humming and hawing, if you have a really hard time talking about sex or saying certain terms and it's very awkward, they're going to be sitting through that thinking, this is weird. I don't like talking to dad about this. I don't like talking to mom about this because it's just weird. All right, so don't make it awkward. Next, do not make it a one-time thing. This is not the talk. It's not check it off your list as a parent. I had that porn talk with my kid. This is an ongoing discussion. It's a conversation. It's helping them understand the world that they're living in. It's helping them know that they're going to see pornography. It's them talking to you, giving their opinion, their thoughts. It's not just you talking at them one time, educating them that they should avoid pornography. The next thing that's important is to don't act like you've never been exposed. Don't act like it's a them thing, but your life, you've never experienced it. Now, you don't need to go to your son and give them the whole history that you've had with pornography, whether it's long or short. But if you send the message to your son that they're the weird one who's had to experience this, it's not helpful. So it is helpful to talk a little bit about what you've experienced. So don't make it a them thing. It's an us thing. It's a we thing. I've experienced it in this way, and you're experiencing it in that way, and I'm going to be open with you about it. Here's another don't. Don't insinuate that it's just gross and it's just wrong. Think about it. Your son, your 14-year-old son, finds pornography on the internet. It might be gross what they were looking at, but they like it. It was exciting. It felt good. So if you just say it's gross, it's wrong, it's disgusting, it's bad, it's a sin, if that's the only message they get, they're going to start to feel some shame because they're going to be thinking, if that's so bad, why did I like it so much? So it's important that you have more of a conversation than it's just bad and it's just wrong. Let's talk about the do's. And think about it. I'll say some of these things and you might think that's the opposite of what I want to do. But I'll explain why it's actually helpful. So the first do is to normalize it. Now you might be thinking, I don't want my son to look at porn, so why would I normalize it for him? What you're normalizing is his feelings, his desires, his desire to want to see sexual images, his desire to want to engage sexually with something. He's a 14-year-old boy. Or younger, or whatever age he is, he's sexual. And it's normal that he wants to see those things and that he's drawn to those things. So it's important that you normalize it for him and that you let him know that he's not disgusting, he's not weird, he's not a sinner because he desires to see those things. The next important do is to explain why talking is important. So what that means is your son most likely will view pornography. Most likely will seek it out and view it. What you want to explain to them is why it's important to be able to have conversations and discussions with you about it. Because when they can converse about it, they can learn about their experience, it doesn't go into hiding and it doesn't cause shame, which drives sexual addiction. It alleviates that shame and it makes it less likely that they're going to seek out pornography in the future. So the next do is to teach them why it's dangerous. So you're walking a fine line here. You're trying not to say you're a sinner, it's wrong, but at the same time, you're teaching them why engaging in pornography and searching out for pornography is a dangerous thing. Teach them about addiction. Teach them about what are the consequences of numbing out their emotions. So educate them. Sexuality is a good thing. Sexuality without boundaries can be a destructive thing. It can cause consequences. You want to teach them that. The next do is to be vulnerable and to be real. If you're asking them to be open and transparent and honest with you, then model that to them so that they know how that feels and they know what that looks like. So be vulnerable with them. Talk to them on an emotional level of things that you may struggle with or things that are tempting for you. You can have boundaries with your son. You don't have to get into the details. But be a vulnerable, open person with them. The last do is to make it a discussion. Now, a discussion is when two people come together and they talk about a topic and try to understand each other. Don't make it a talk. Don't make it a talk at them. A lecture. It's not a lecture. It's an ongoing discussion as they're growing up. And it's something that you can openly talk about and it's comfortable to talk about so that when there are struggles, they have a place to go to bounce stuff off of and get support. I'm going to give you an example of something that is effective versus something that's not effective when talking to your son about pornography. So let's start with not effective. Hey buddy, I want to have a talk. There's this thing called porn, and it's something that you shouldn't look at because it's bad and it will cause you problems. So don't look at it. That doesn't work. Okay, let's talk about something that's effective. So remember, we're normalizing it. We're making it a discussion. So I go to my son, hey man, I want to talk to you about something. I want to talk to you about pornography. You've probably seen pornography, right? They'll probably deny it. Well, it's everywhere. I've seen it. What does it make you feel like when you see it? You wait for their answer. It's a back and forth. You're talking to them about it. They might say, I don't know, I've never seen it. And you can just kind of keep going, keep educating. Talk about sex, talk about whatever it is that you need to talk about, but you're engaging in learning together, all right? So what I'm not doing is shying away. I'm not saying Mr. M. I'm going right at the topic and I'm engaging in a conversation with my son. Be prepared as you start talking about pornography with your son. He may already be involved with it and you don't know it. So I just want you to be prepared so that you don't show up shocked if he opens up and says, actually, Dad, or actually, Mom, I've seen it quite a bit. I've been searching for it on the iPad, or I've seen it on the computer for a while now. If that's the case, there may be an addiction already, there may not be. But it's important that you show up first and foremost with love, not with punishment. Don't punish them for what they did, especially if they open up to you and tell you that they're struggling with something. Empathize with their struggle, empathize with their shame. Open up discussions so that they can get it all out, so that they can feel good about themselves again. And then start to teach them, then start to have ongoing discussions with them. Thanks for watching. If this video has been helpful, then you're gonna wanna check out my other video, which will actually help you with this. And that's how to raise a secure child by parenting with empathy.